Hello, everybody. It is Easter Friday. Happy Easter to everybody. And as said, I'm going to do the first Q&A session. I received quite a few questions from people. And so I thought, why am I not going to get this here? There we go. There we are. So I would like really to get going. This is the first Q&A session to start off the launch of the Fatigue Recovery Series. And I'm really, really excited to have been able to make these 3 episodes available with so much value inside. You are embarking on a journey of learning about how to beat fatigue. Like in episode 1, for example, I will introduce you to the 4 elements required to work in synchronicity in order to kick fatigue out of your life for good. We will follow Gayna's story and how she got successfully her life back. We look at how she influenced her mind in order to deal with mental and emotional fatigue, and also how you can influence your beliefs and rewire your brain to progress and provoke personal growth. I will also talk about how water consumption and the right nutrition plus supplementation is essential to ban fatigue out of your life. And I live and to live the life you really want. Today, I will answer a few more questions you have sent across, but before I do, I want to raise one more big issue you need to consider for general health and fatigue in particular. I want to talk about sugar and refined sugar especially. So I hope you got your water or any drink ready and maybe even a pen and paper. And if you got a question coming up, please just send them in the group and I will answer them. Or put a comment down below, whatever is easiest for you. Send me an email, etc. Now let's start. Glucose, commonly called sugar, is an important energy source that is needed by all the cells and organs of our body. It is the simplest of the carbohydrates, making it a monosaccharide. This means it is a one sugar. Other monosaccharides include fructose, galactose, and ribose. Sugar occurs naturally in all foods that contain carbohydrates, such as fruits and vegetables, grains, and dairy. These sugars are the first energy source the body goes to. They break down into energy much faster than proteins or fat counterparts. Consuming whole foods that contain natural sugar is good as the sugar supply of energy to your cells is really quick and steady. They also supply the body with fibers, essential minerals, and antioxidants. Dairy foods also contain essential proteins and calcium. A high intake of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains has been shown to reduce the risk of chronic diseases in general, such as diabetes, heart diseases, and some cancers. However, problems occur when you consume too much added sugar, that is refined sugar, that food manufacturers add to countless food products, not just to impart sweetness, but to increase flavor, extend shelf life, and adjust attributes like the texture, body, color, and browning capabilities of foods. So, which foods have added sugar really? Ultra-processed foods, foods with added flavors, colors, sweetness, emulsifiers, and other additives contribute to nearly 90% of our sugar intake, according to the BMJ journal study. The main sources of added sugars in ultra-processed foods are soft drinks, surprise, fruit drinks, milk-based drinks like chocolate milk, cakes, of course, biscuits and pies, bread, desserts, sweet snacks, breakfast cereals, ice cream and ice lollies, sugar we put in our tea and coffee, and so on. The calories refined sugar contain are actually empty. They have little or no nutritional value. Not only that, refined sugar drains and leaches the body of precious minerals and vitamins through the demand its digestion, detoxification, and elimination make on all the systems of the body. Minerals such as sodium from salt, potassium and magnesium from vegetables, and calcium from bones are mobilized and used in chemical transmutation. Neutral acids are produced which attempt to return the acid-alkaline balance factor of the blood to a more normal state. So you can see how much the body has to work to keep its natural balance when we consume refined sugar. Therefore, it is used up a lot of energy in return for zero value. Unless you consume only whole unprocessed foods, you are bound to have added sugars in your daily diet. Added sugar should not make up more than 5% of the total energy we get from food and drink each day. This is around 30 grams a day of added sugar for anyone aged 11 and older. But the National Diet and Nutrition Survey reveals that Britons are having far too much, especially children aged 11 to 18 years. 14% of their daily calories are from added sugars. Sugar causes glucose levels to spike and to plummet. When we eat, the process of digestion converts food into glucose, a simple sugar. However, in order to use the glucose, your body needs insulin, a hormone which is produced by the pancreas. Glucose is carried in the blood to the pancreas, where the increased blood glucose level stimulates the production of insulin. The insulin is carried in the blood to the liver, where excess glucose is converted to glycogen, a complex sugar, which is then stored in the liver and muscles and only mobilized when we need it. Glycogen provides the body with a readily available source of energy. However, the liver's capacity is limited. So when it reaches its capacity, the excess glycogen is returned to the blood in the form of fatty acids. These are then taken to every part of the body and stored in the most inactive areas, like the belly, the buttocks, breast, and thighs. A decrease in blood glucose, on the other hand, stimulates secretion of the cortical hormones in the adrenal gland and the hormones of the pituitary gland, which sits in your head, which raise the blood glucose level by converting some of the stored glycogen in the liver to glucose. If the insulin supplied by the pancreas is excessive, too much glucose will be converted to glycogen. The blood glucose level will fall and remain low. This condition is called hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. This overstimulation of the pancreas is caused by excessive intake of simple sugars. Now, what are symptoms of a low blood sugar level? What do you think? Sweating, feeling tired, dizziness, feeling hungry, tingling in lips, feeling shaky or trembling, fast or pounding heartbeat, called palpitations, becoming easily irritated, tearful, anxious, or moody, turning pale, etc. The extra insulin in your bloodstream can affect the arteries all over your body. It causes their walls to become inflamed, grow thicker than normal, and more stiff. This stresses your heart and damages it over time, which can then lead to heart disease, like heart failure, heart attacks, and strokes. I'm sure you have heard of those. On the other hand, if the insulin supply is inadequate, the liver cannot effectively convert excess glucose to glycogen. When the pancreas becomes exhausted by producing insulin to neutralize the simple sugars, excess sugar begins building up in the blood, causing the blood glucose levels to rise and remain high. This is called hyperglycemia, a defining characteristic of diabetes. So, what are symptoms of hyperglycemia? Increased thirst excessively and hunger, frequent urination, sugar in your urine, you can smell it, headaches, blurred vision, fatigue, unintentional weight loss, recurrent infections such as thrush, bladder infections, and skin infections, breast that smells very fruity. So in a healthy body, the blood glucose level is maintained by the interplay of insulin and cortical hormones. In a poorly functioning body, the swings in the blood sugar levels are much, much greater. So unstable blood sugar can leave you experiencing mood swings, again, fatigue, and headaches. It also contributes to cravings, which begins the cycle of false hunger. By contrast, those who avoid sugar report having fewer cravings while feeling more emotionally balanced and energized. Consuming too much added sugar can have many negative health effects, including brain fog. The most important and demanding organ that needs glucose is the brain. The human brain is full of neurons that constantly consume glucose as they perform jobs such as thinking, learning, and remembering. When your brain doesn't get enough glucose, neurons don't have the fuel they need to communicate with the rest of our body and perform their jobs well. Though not a medical term, this is commonly known as brain fog. So when you feel confused or disorganized or find it hard to focus or put your thoughts into words, the Brain Fog Solution Guide is one of the greatest bonuses you could receive next week. Now let's have a look at inflammation. A diet high in sugar might be a key factor contributing to chronic inflammation. Sugar stimulates the production of free fatty acids in the liver. When the body digests these free fatty acids, chemicals called cytokines are produced, which can trigger inflammatory processes. So if we look at diseases like arthritis, for example, lupus, where chronic inflammation is one of the key triggers, we know we need to influence the cytokines, which can be done with low-dose medicine we're going to talk about in video 2. I'm going to talk about in video 2 or episode 2. Now, the immune function. Studies have shown that sugar can interfere with the way our body fights diseases. Bacteria and yeast feed on sugar. So excess glucose in the body causes these organisms to build up their levels. So they're just producing and living a luxurious life in us, leading to various health conditions. This is only one negative influencing factor for our immune system. So modulation and strengthening is, again, a vital part of being in balance and staying in balance whole year round. I will talk about that in episode 3. Nerve damage. Researchers think that over time, uncontrolled high blood sugar damages nerves and interferes with the ability to send signals, leading to diabetic neuropathy, which means it's painful, cold, or sensitive fingers, toes, hands, and feet. High blood sugar also weakens the walls of the small vessels, our capillaries, that supply the nerves with oxygen and nutrients. What does sugar do with the skin, in the skin? After sugar hits your bloodstream, it attaches to proteins. The mix of these proteins with sugar causes the skin to lose elasticity, contributing to wrinkles and sagging. Excess sugar also causes inflammation in the skin, which can aggravate skin conditions such as rosacea, acne, and eczema. Let's look at tooth decay. When it sits on your teeth, sugar causes decay more efficiently than any other food, fueling plaque and bacteria. It also leads to gum disease. By increasing evidence shows that chronic infections like those that result from dental problems play a role in the development of heart diseases. So we have now a connection, a chain of events: sugar creating gum disease, creating heart disease. Most researchers believe that the connection stems from the body's inflammatory response to infection. Stress. What has stress and sugar to do with each other? When we are under stress, our bodies kick into a fight or flight mode, releasing large amounts of hormones. The body has the same chemical response when blood sugar is low. After you eat a sweet snack, stress hormones begin to compensate for the crash by raising your blood sugar levels, leading to anxiety, irritability, and shakiness. Stress creates a lot of toxic waste in many areas of the body. So detoxification, as we will be looking in episode 3, is super important to move the toxins out of your tissue. What has sugar to do with chromium deficiency? Chromium, a trace mineral, helps regulate blood sugar in the body. If you don't get enough chromium in your diet, you may be more likely to develop high blood sugar and high cholesterol. Whilst it can be found in meat, seafood, and plant foods, we don't get enough chromium from refined starches. So here, on only this one example, you can see that supplementation needs to be an essential part of our diet. Maintaining healthy blood sugar levels, maintaining consistent blood sugar levels is a critical part of overall health and well-being. People with bodies that don't produce insulin, such as those with type 1 diabetes, have to do more to maintain consistent glucose levels. Their daily routines might include insulin injections so that their body have the resources they need to carry glucose to the cells and the brain. In a body that can produce insulin, a balanced diet is the key to maintaining blood sugar levels. Skipping meals or denying yourself the sugars and carbohydrates you need to keep your body functioning could lead to an inability to focus or mood swings. On the other hand, consistently consuming meals and snacks that are high in sugar or processed carbohydrates could lead to chronic health conditions. Understanding the foods your body needs to produce the right levels of glucose can go a long way towards maintaining a healthy, active lifestyle. We will look at episode 1 into nutrition. And my fatigue recovery formula has got an extensive module prepared for you because it is so important. So now, let me answer a few questions you guys had already forwarded prior to this session. Question 1 will be, will this series work for me? Well, let me say, fatigue is just a symptom of imbalances in your body, okay? I am aiming with this series to show you how you can restore balance and bring homeostasis. We are setting the foundations by detoxing, boosting your immune system, and addressing your mindset, lifestyle, and looking what else can negatively influence your body and mind, like underlying health issues. So that will all be discussed in detail. Another question was, how much time do I need to put into this for me to work. Let me tell you that this series is specifically designed for people with fatigue. It is designed to fit you like a glove and to your own schedule. I understand your feelings and therefore have made the episodes to the point in short pre-recorded videos, and you have lifelong access to all the bonuses so you can choose for your convenience when to look at what and how and use the tools as you feel fit. Now, I've uploaded the episodes as well in the course so you have access to them anytime from next week on. I'll just have to record episode 3 this weekend. There's no time limit for you to follow, and you can pick and choose which module you want to start off with, especially designed with you and your issues in mind. So if you feel like you have brain fog, you can look at that. If you want to deal with anxiety, look at this. If you have nutritional issues, you can look at the 8 hacks for healthier food or the 12 foods for better gut health, depending on what your problem is, mostly, or you feel what you need the most help with. In episode 2, I will show you how Sean overcame fatigue originated by underlying health issues. I know that many of us do have health issues causing or contributing to fatigue, and therefore I want you to see how it is possible to combat this complex phenomenon. Now, question number 3. What if I have an autoimmune disease? Let's have a very quick look at one autoimmune disease like lupus, for example. Lupus symptoms are created by an increased inflammatory response of the body. As we know, the body is in fighting mode all the time, but has forgotten how to switch fighting mode back to defense mode when nothing is there to fight, actually. Within your individual treatment plan, we will look in detail what we can improve and add cytokine therapy into the protocol, which will regulate the inflammatory response of the body. Specifically, in this condition, the same principle does apply for arthritis and lots of other so-called autoimmune diseases as well. The basic remedies I have put together to improve the immune system response, or the immune response, will already start to address autoimmune issues and is not controversial to those conditions or regular medication you take. In episode 3, I will be showing you how I learned and developed my immune boosting and tissue detoxing formula, eradicating first my adrenal fatigue and then treating many of my clients successfully. Now, another question. What is the difference between immune boosting and virus reducing remedies? That's a good question. Immune boosting remedies are to strengthen the general immune response of the body. If you think of the immune system like an army, the immune boosters are the foot troops on the front line. They need to fight the hardest, but they do not need to differentiate who they fight against. As long as the whole front is strong, the enemies like viruses and bacteria, allergens or pollutants cannot affect the body. The virus-reducing remedies are the specialized soldiers. Let's say the target shooters, for example. They are behind the front line, but they focus only on one thing, such as reducing the actual amount of viruses the front line is up against. My remedy formula has got immune boosting and virus and bacteria reducing remedies included. So we're covering all angles on the base before we do anything else. Another question, can we get rid of viruses completely? That's a good question too. Once contracted, we will always have this virus within us, unfortunately. There will be an imprint, which is good in a way, because the body will remember. But we can't really completely get rid of it. And we shouldn't, so the body can remember. If you think of cold sores, some of us get, this is the strain of the herpes virus, which is dormant most of the time. but under certain circumstances, it gets active. Hence the cold sore. So the only thing we can do is keeping the amount of virus copies to an absolute minimum, which our specialized soldiers, the target shooters, are responsible for. Any form of stress can influence the immune system extremely, as the body stops focusing on his defense, which then gives viruses the chance to replicate very quickly. Therefore, it is very important to be able to deal with daily and any unforeseen situations in life as calm and efficient as possible, which is addressed within the coaching masterclass of my Ultimate Fatigue Recovery Formula. You get a few hints and modules within the series you already purchased. So you will have a good base help. Now, another question. Why do medications mask symptoms only but can't get rid of the root cause? That is a really good question. And it brings me directly to the theory and principles of homeopathy in general and homotoxicology in particular, which is also called complex homeopathy. Now, let me explain. If you take any medication, for example, 10 milligram amlodipine to reduce blood pressure, this medication gets dissolved and then only the cells with the biggest receptors or a specific big door key for amlodipine will get the medication. Now, the cell will stop signaling to the brain that it needs blood pressure reducing hormones, etc., because the medication is sitting right on their doorstep. So over time, the body stops producing its own blood pressure reducing hormones as the brain will not give the order to do so anymore. Therefore, we have created a codependency between body and medication. But we actually haven't addressed the underlying issue why the body was not able to deal with the blood pressure problem in the first place. Does that make sense? With homeopathy, the actual medication or plant extract gets diluted so many times that we have only a blueprint of it in a remedy, in a solution. This blueprint or code or signature or however you would like to call it is given to the body, gets carried around within the body and in the blood, and every single cell with even the tiniest receptor for this specific medication gets a copy delivered. It's like a mail drop. Whether we want it or not, we're getting it. With this copy, the body can double check where it is going wrong and adjust the failure wherever it is. For example, the signaling between the brain and the cells, or the production of a certain hormone in an organ, etc., etc. This is how you can actually reverse wrong-going body functions and therefore revert disease back to health. Now, back to you. If you have any more questions, please send them across. If you can't think of anything right now, but something else jumps anytime in your head, please email or post it here on the Facebook group, and I will get back to you. Now, on Monday and Tuesdays at 1 p.m., episode 1 and 2 will start the week, and episode 3 will be following on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Be ready and make sure you have all the bonuses and your login details to access the material I have prepared for you. Be in touch and let me know how you're getting on. I'm really, really curious. And now I wish everybody a lovely Easter. The sun is out. The weather seems to be kind to us. So I hope you will enjoy. And until Monday, I'll say bye-bye.